Should I go to a trade school or should I get a college degree? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Bell, coming live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. So if you are in that 18 to 25-year-old range and you're like, hey, I really don't know if I want to go to school or not, or you're somewhere in that range and you're like, hey, I'm looking for a different industry that I want to get involved with. Which direction should I go? So I'm going to share with you something that came out recently, and it's super importante for you. Super importante. College, on average per year, is about 90 grand. So we're going to do some quick math. 90 grand. So a 4-year college should cost you about $360,000 for your education. And for every credit that you take, that's 1 hour of homework per week. Okay. So if you have a 3-credit class, that means that you're going to do 3 hours of homework per week. So if you're taking 20 credits, that means you're going to sit through class for 20 hours and then have 20 hours of homework. So that means out of all that week, you have worked full time and you've went to school full time. And then now you're going to have a job on top of that. Okay. So let's do some super quick math when it comes to salary. You're going to graduate and you're probably going to make between $60,000 and $80,000 a year between you upon the degree, the skills, the talents that you have. We're just going to use some generic numbers, simmer down if I'm a little bit off. Okay. So 40% of that's going to go to taxes. The tax man's going to come to you, come to me, and they're going to be like, pay me, sucker. And then you're going to go, okay, now I'm going to take home between $36,000 and $44,000 per year to pay off a school loan that's $360,000. All right. So, you know, my answer is this doesn't work very well for me. This just doesn't play out very well. Or you pay $360,000 to get a business degree to make 80 grand a year, right? To have to answer questions. So I'm going to give you the opposite side, or what I like to refer to as the other end of the rainbow. But before we do that, you should go to HVACTechSecrets.com, HVACTechSecrets.com, and subscribe. I'll probably ask you for an email address, a phone number, like 3 pieces of information. Super chill, super easy. Type that into a browser, you're good to go. Now, let's say that you go to a trade school. Now, here in Sacramento, one of the colleges allows for you to go to college. It is a college course, and you can learn how to be a HVAC or a refrigeration technician. So you could do that over a couple of semesters, and yes, you got to pay your college credits for that, and you would probably have a part-time job. Okay, cool, right? That's a cool way for you to do it. Or there's probably a couple of companies in your town, in your jurisdiction, that would be more than willing to train you, like for real. I set one of these up here in Sacramento. I helped one in San Diego. Like, I know for a fact that there are companies that will look for people who are good with their hands and good with people skills, and they'll say, hey, we'll train you. We train dudes, we train chicks, we train people who are fresh off the street, we trained Army vets, we train military vets. Like, back in the day, it was like, hey, are you interested? Can you have a conversation? Does this sound like something you want to do? Yeah, come try this out. And, you know, there were some hoops that they had to jump through. It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't like, hey, walk in the door, here's what you get. It was work. So if you're going to go down this path and you're going to say, hey, I'm interested, I want to go into the trades, I want to go into roofing, plumbing, heating and air, electrical, any of that, it's going to be hard work. And here's the thing, you're going to have to sell. You're going to be in tight spaces. You're going to deal with angry and upset people. You're going to go into homes. I mean, it's not all roses and money and, you know, all the cool stuff that you want to have. I don't know if roses and money are cool with you. All right, fine, whatever. So let's do some basic math. The school may be free, or it could cost you 20 to 40 grand for you to go through. I prefer free because there's a lot of companies out there that'll train, and you're like, Scott, how do I find those? I'm going to tell you here in just a second. Your first year, you should make between $50,000 and $60,000, roughly the same amount you would make if you went to college. Your second year, you should make between $60,000 and $80,000. Your third year, between $100,000 and $150,000. Your fourth year, between $160,000 plus. Okay, if you got good training, you're going to get there. And before you're like, well, I'm a homeowner, that's ridiculous. Like, it costs a lot of money to train people. It costs a lot to have a truck out in the field. Average heating and air truck to have kitted out, if you got a service van with capacitors and circuit boards and refrigerant and wire and all sorts of stuff, just to kit that van out is between 11 and 20 grand per vehicle. So like, if you have a warehouse on wheels and you're going to a service call and you got a whole bunch of capacitors and a whole bunch of circuit boards, like, that's not free. And so like, now you're not having to go to the parts warehouse and get that stuff. And, you know, when you take a look at how this opportunity works for you, By year 3 or 4, if you are taught right, and please be ethical, please do the right thing. You don't have to lie, cheat, or steal in the industry to make money. I promise you, please do the right thing. By your year 4, you should be making 150 grand plus. There's some dudes out there that their first year they're making 150. But like, let's just say that you don't have those skills and you don't have those talents. It's okay. Like, I believe in you. You can still do this. By year 3 or by year 4, you could be making 150K. By year 3 or by year 4, with you having a four-year degree, you could be making all of about 80. Like, the math just these days doesn't play out. 50 years ago? Absolutely. Right after World War II? Absolutely. 1960? Yep. 1970? Yes. 1980? Yep. 1990? Maybe. 2000s? Maybe. I'll tell you, I believe by the time that I paid for my undergrad in business, it was about 50 grand. By the time that I paid for my MBA, it was about 90. So all in, $90,000. Okay. All in about 90 grand. Was it worth it? And I got 2 of these degrees, right? And I'm telling you, But you may have parents, you may have family members pressuring you. Like, it's completely different if you want to be a doctor, attorney, an engineer, something where you actually have to have a degree. To be in heating and air, you just have to be able to talk and use your hands. Like, that's it. That's it. Those, like, what skills do I need? You need to be able to talk, probably sell. Okay. If you could talk, you could sell. And then use your hands and your knowledge to fix things. That's all it takes. Okay. So you're like, hey, Scott, I like what you have to say. How should I find one of these companies? Well, here's what you do. You go to Uncle Google, or I don't know, anything similar, and you type in HVAC companies near me, and you start calling. Hey, I'm interested in getting a job as a technician. I'm interested in getting a job as a salesperson. Do you train? No, we don't train. Go away. Click. You know what you do? You look at the next number and you call me like, hey, my name's Scott. You train technicians, and are you looking for new salespeople? No, go away. Click. There's going to be some adversity on your part, and then you're going to call a company and you're going to say, hey, my name's Scott, and I'm really interested in becoming a technician. I have no skills. Do you guys train? And they're going to say yes. Do you want to come in for an interview? And you're going to say yes. And you should have a couple of questions. Okay. So you should definitely have a couple of questions. Do I have to pay money? And if the answer is yes, run away, right? Like, nope. Some people may say, hey, we want you to put a deposit down for you to reserve your spot. Right? The better companies are going to say, come to work. We'll give you the tools. We'll give you the skills. It's a 6 to 8 week program, a 12-week program, but we're going to put you through the ringer. Cool. They're paying for it. Let them put you through the ringer. Put them through the ringer. Okay. You should ask about what are your beliefs and ethics and morals, right? And however you want to ask this. You don't want to ask questions that are going to raise a red flag, but you also want to know, is this company good for me to work at? You can go look at their reviews online. You could ask a couple of people. But if they say anything like, whatever it takes to close a deal, that's what we want you to do. Run as far as you can away and pick up the phone and start calling again, right? Hey, you want to work for an ethical company. You want to work for a company that believes in doing things the right way, because you've got one life, you've got one name, unless you go into the witness protection program. Like, it's the only way I could think of, like, hey, you could get away with this, but please do the right thing for your client. Please make sure to take care of people, and please do the right thing. Like, I've said it like 3 or 4 times because I truly believe this. Had a company last month. Scott, can you come train our technicians? Yeah, let me look up a couple things about your company. Let me go online. Yeah, tell me about your business philosophy. Hey, tell me what's going on. And every red flag on the planet started going off for me. And they were like, we want to give you moolah, which cash is my favorite 4-letter word when I'm not stubbing my toe. And I was like, no. How about no? No. So you want to work for a good company that's going to train you how to do the right thing. They should offer sales training. They should offer how to do it. And in return, they might ask you, like, hey, will you give us time to stay here, and will you give us time to work? Because, like, they really put in the time, the energy, and the effort. I think we pegged, this was probably about 7 years ago, we pegged that number to train somebody was around 40 to 80 grand, all in. All in to train somebody costs about 40 to 80 grand. So a company may come back and go, hey, we would prefer that you stay here for 2 years. Hey, if it's a good company, you're probably going to stay there for 2 years. Hopefully you stay there longer. That's a fantastic thing. It's going to be hard work. I want to reinforce this. If you're thinking, Scott, this sounds super chill, super easy, it's going to be hard work because you're going to have to live up to metrics. You're going to be asked to sell. You're going to be asked to do the right thing. And don't just go working for anybody. Like, this is my last note to you. It's your livelihood. If you start at a company that's in a downward position where they're a liar, cheat, or fraud company, you're going to have that moniker on you for the time that you work, right? Well, here's what happens is it may not be that big of a deal and someone like, hey, I'm willing to give you a chance, but there's always that asterisk next to your name. You always want to work for a really good company. You always want to say, hey, is this company that I'm working for doing the right thing? And the moment that they stop doing the right thing, they might get a different manager, they might get a different ownership group. Go find somewhere else to work. Always work for the best. So should you go to school to learn how to do heating and air, plumbing, roofing, electrical? Absolutely. Should you go to college? No. My belief as of today, right? Unless you're going to be a doctor, attorney, engineer, or something very specific, there's so many people, and even attorneys. I could go off. Oh my goodness. Maybe not an attorney, right? Lots of good people are attorneys. I'm just saying, statistically speaking, there's so many people out there that have graduated law school and not enough jobs. So, but like a professional job is going to require you to have like a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year degree. Doctors, attorneys, engineers. Okay. Should you go to school like college? Probably not. Probably not. Just like, as it's 2024 moving forward, maybe next year when you're watching this is 25, 2026, 2027, 2030. Like the numbers just are not going to play out to your favor. $80,000 a year, $90,000 a year for school to get a job that pays 55 grand. Like you could figure this out with third grade math. It doesn't work very well for you. You got one of 3 things to do from here. Just one of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you, my friend, will get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, share this video with a friend. I'm giving you the red flags. I'm giving you the warnings. At this point, no, no. Like, how are you supposed to make that math work? We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.